Welcome to another episode of Staying in Trouble. We are here in the Rooftop Realty studio, ready for another great episode here. We got Mama's Wranglers coming in. It's going to be a lot of fun. But like always, this podcast is supported by Rooftop Realty. They give us this wonderful place that we can record our studio. But they support the podcast, so if you love this podcast, please support Rooftop Realty for all your realty needs. Go to vegasrooftop.com, check them out, and give one of their realtors or personnel, Eric, a call and see what they can do for you for all your housing needs. This episode is also supported by Blue Coolers. Blue Coolers. Go to see bluecoolers.com and check out all of their awesome coolers, their tumblers, and they have everything you need when it comes to coolers. You know, the summer's coming. It's getting hot. Lake trips are being planned. Hopefully we get out of this quarantine all good and we want to go on some trips this summer. Get out and relax. Go camping. And if you are in need of a new cooler, go to bluecoolers.com. Check them out. You can also follow them on Instagram and check out their advertisements. They have sales and all kinds of wonderful things there. So go to Instagram, type up Blue Coolers, and they will come up and you can follow them there and get up-to-date sales and promotions and everything that they have. So go see bluecoolers.com and go buy yourself a cooler.
Sometimes you're flush and sometimes you're bust, and when you're up, it's never as good as it seems, and when you're down, you never think you're going to be up again. But life goes on. Remember that. Money isn't real, George. It doesn't matter. It only seems like it does.
All right, welcome to another episode of Staying in Trouble.
Yee!
Yeah.
Yeehaw! Let's go!
So loud.
You always have to test out your mic, huh?
Yeah.
Anyways.
I don't know if our listeners have figured this out, but I do occasionally like the sound of my own voice.
So that's Eric Humes. I'm Adam Short. And we have Mama's Wranglers here.
Hi,
Howdy.
everyone. Hello.
All right. We have Tony, Tess, Mackenzie, and Graydon.
Close.
My name is Skylar.
Skylar. We're missing Mackenzie.
I'm offended.
So does Mackenzie live here or?
She actually just moved to Florida.
Really?
So she's not in the band anymore, and we miss her.
Oh.
Wow.
Just for our listeners, if they're not watching us on YouTube right now, that would be Adam who offended Skylar. Not Eric. That would be
I'm
Adam.
sorry, Skylar.
It's okay. It's okay.
Happens all the time. Don't worry about it.
Mom mixes us up all the time anyway.
I do that with all of my kids.
Yeah, I think that's just a parent thing.
It is. I start at the top, and I just sooner or later I'm going to get to the right kid that I want to yell at. So, but that's how it works. Welcome to our little studio here.
Thanks for having us.
Nice. Yeah.
Dude, we're glad to have you here. And to start off, I got some questions for you, Tony.
Okay.
So you guys have been doing this for 17 years, more?
19 years.
19 years.
19 years.
Right on. You got to update your website. No, just joking.
Great. We need to.
I try
put,
to do some research.
The year.
No. So for 19 years, what inspired you to? Have you always performed for?
Yeah, no, Tony, give us a little rendition.
Yeah.
Give us a short synopsis of how Mama's Wranglers came about.
Okay, so the quick short story is that after I graduated college and I was working and had my first baby, I did not want other people to raise her. And so I quit my corporate job and stayed home, and I needed to supplement the income. So I started teaching music lessons. So as my babies were born and as they grew, then they just were absorbing all the music that was being taught around them. And so they became natural musicians. And from the time they were very young, I started teaching them music lessons as well. And so in about 2000 is when we started working with a gentleman, and he said, well, I need this one to play the guitar, this one to play the banjo, this one to play the fiddle, and all of a sudden they were like playing all these different instruments. And then when they saw somebody else play an instrument, then they're like, hey, I want to play that one. And so they just, all of them play like 6 or 7 different instruments. They all sing and they dance as well. So that's how it all began.
Man, we love the dancing.
But it wasn't like
Right
her
here on
like
the table.
on the
Yeah.
table. There you go. But it wasn't like her dream to have like a family band. It just kind of happened. It just
Really? Because I think everyone that lived through the 70s dreams of having a family band. Like, I think,
What was that show?
yeah, what was that show? The
Brady
Monkees,
Bunch.
the
Brady
Brady
Bunch.
Bunch, the
No, the Partridge Family.
Partridge
Partridge
Family.
Family.
Yes.
Like, everyone had a family van, and they were out with the family band making, so.
So, was there a particular instrument? Like, there's some that you guys all share. I'm
Right.
sure you guys all play the guitar, drums.
they
all sing. I've seen that.
Yeah, they actually all
there's-
play fiddle
Fiddle and
and
piano.
piano.
And piano.
and drums
And drums.
And drums.
and
And well, Tessa started dancing recently.
clogging.
Not clogging,
Little
but
dance.
and mom too.
Well, so you do tap, or you do clogging, or you do both?
I
Clogging.
don't do any. Those two clog.
These two are
Skylar
the
and I.
are the cloggers, but she's been doing dance steps, like movements in the songs and stuff that
and she gets the shoulders shimmy
Oh,
and
okay.
stuff. You know,
she's
it's
doing
like,
really good.
Oh, really?
So
natural.
where have we thought about taking the show on the road? Maybe there's a new place called Branson.
Well, you guys started on the road.
We started on the road, actually. I mean, well, we started very small in the Salt Lake City area, just doing like senior centers, and it was quite frightening for my children, to be honest with you, in the beginning, just because they're like seniors and their teeth are like falling out of their.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
For dead people
And
almost.
it was just kind of frightening in the beginning. And then we started branching out and doing things like little fairs and then in 2010 it was our goal to perform in every state that we hadn't performed in. So we made it to 46.
I like how Tony said made it our goal.
Wait,
It was the children's goal to sing at the nursing homes. It was the kids. The kids all wanted to do this, and I'm just helping them. Nice touch, Tony. I do the same thing with my kids. Oh, my kids want to play sports today. Oh, you didn't sign up? Don't worry. I paid the fee. You're playing.
So going back, how old were they at the senior citizen or senior
When they
home?
first started?
Yeah.
So we first started in 2001. So tell him how old you were in 2001.
So Mom was pregnant with me when we first began the band. I'm turning 19 this year.
Okay.
So
I would have guessed 16, but okay.
I don't know
She
whether
has
to be
to
offended.
Eric,
Scott-
that only works on older ladies. That doesn't work on kids.
That's right.
Well, she's complaining like the baby in the family for sure. So
Oh, she's totally the baby of the family.
yeah,
I'm feeling very attacked.
Skylar's never coming back to the podcast again.
yeah.
Not unless you pay me.
In 2001, I was 10. No.
You're
I
8
was
years older
8.
than me.
Oh, I was 8.
He was
Wow.
8.
And I think I was
She
about
was
10.
10. So they were
That-
young.
Yeah, that's
That's how we started.
that's a little nerve wracking.
Oh,
And getting over the smell of the place and everything like that.
You get used to the smell after a while.
Yeah, but no. So and then Skylar, as soon as she was born, then she, we had to wait a little bit till she could walk or something, but then she became part of the show.
Maybe
at the age of-
Bajorn? She wasn't doing the Bajorn?
She started performing with us when she was 2. And at that time, she could even hold a little fiddle, and so I keep.
If you folks keep hearing a boom in your mic, it's Mama keeps hitting her mic over and over again.
Anyway, so
Well, that explains a lot about Skylar, though. She's been used to the spotlight since she
Yeah.
was 2.
Yep.
yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
And that's why she's like, I'm attacked. I'm attacked. You're attacking the stars.
I am
Get
the
me a
star,
water,
though.
please.
Nonsense.
Graydon thinks he's the star. I think out of all of us, the most dramatic one is Graydon.
I'm the only guy. I'm obviously the star. That's just how
He
it works.
sounds like he's the most picked on.
Yeah, see?
Yeah.
I
sure.
don't think so.
But
See?
deep down,
No.
you all know who the real star is.
Mom.
The quiet,
Mama.
the quiet.
I like the competition, keeping it active.
Oh, goodness.
There are some people who come up and they're like, "Oh, Skylar, your yodeling was great. Oh, Graydon, you did great clogging." And then they go to Tess and they're like,
You're my
"Tess, your
favorite."
banjo was the most amazing banjo I've ever heard."
That's the thing about that Tess. The reason she thinks she's the star is because the banjo is such a rare instrument, right? My main instrument's the guitar. Everybody hears the guitar.
Yeah.
The guitar's just the guitar, right? But the banjo is such a unique instrument, right? That people are like, "Whoa, what's that?" And so then they like come up to her and they're like, "That is the greatest thing I've ever heard." So she gets all this attention. So then
Be
she's
honest
like,
with you, I haven't even heard her because we haven't had an opportunity. We drive by your restaurant all the time, and I'm like, "Oh, we should go to that. Oh, we should go to that." But honestly, I have never even heard her banjo, and I think it's the greatest. Because I'm like, does she
Such a
have one in
bias.
the car?
So biased.
I'm
Just
like,
wait until
it
you
does.
hear the
It goes
yodeling.
back to the memories of watching Hee Haw as a little kid, and the star of the Hee Haw was the banjo player. I forget his name. I can see the picture in my head.
I think it was a girl, wasn't it?
No, it's
No,
okay.
it's a guy. Thank
What about
you
the
very
girl
much.
with the girl with the
No,
tag in the
no,
hat?
no.
She
Go
was
get your
Okay,
Betamax
so
out.
speaking of Hee Haw, that is our next show that we are going to premiere when
we
we open
open.
back up again. It's called Hee Haw.
Oh, yeah?
And it is going
Oh.
to take people back to those days of Hee Haw. And so
See
you'll
how
hear.
I'm in tune?
Oh, you'll
Could you
hear
get in
some
tune
great.
with our guest, please?
other
We're
than
very
in tune with Skylar.
Yeah, other than
We're there.
that.
Yeah.
We're there. We're going to be there for that.
Oh, we're
Do you
hoping
need,
that
do you
as soon
need
as-
stand-ins for the little wall?
We
Because that
do.
is the best ever.
Goose us in the butt.
yeah,
Yeah.
the little wall that goes boing.
So,
And then you hit the road.
So 2010 was the year that we tried to get to every state that we hadn't performed in at that point, made it to 46. So 2011, we got 2 more states. 2012, we got 2 more. So we're at 49. We still haven't performed in Hawaii. So if anybody out there has contacts, get
flights
us there.
are cheap right now.
Oh, hey, we got
Boats are cheaper.
Yeah.
Get on a boat.
Get on a
The
boat.
cruises.
Yeah, you could cruise it
They're
over
practically
there.
free,
Get
right?
paid.
Yeah, right.
Get paid to work.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, so we in 2014 we did 350 shows in 1 year.
Oh, wow.
350 shows.
So that's basically almost living on the road.
Yeah, we were on the road.
I think I only saw my husband 5 weeks the whole year.
Yeah.
Wow.
wow.
So we
poor
were
guy.
traveling a lot that year, and that's what propelled us into opening the dinner theater because she didn't like not being able to be home with her hubby. And
When you're
he's
the
only
star, that's what you do. You
See?
command what you
And
want.
everybody just follows me. Just kidding.
Yeah, and her husband is the only one that qualifies as having a real job. The rest of us are musicians, so
Now wait a minute. We had the same.
That's right. We're entertainers.
Yeah.
We had the same conversation with Chad and Hemlock last time. Is he kind of downplayed it too? He said, "No, well, this ain't a real job."
Right.
Well, what did he call it? Like a
Hobby?
yeah, something like a professional hobby or something like
Paid
that.
hobby.
Yeah.
A paid hobby.
there
So-
you go.
So I remember first going to see you guys at your restaurant on Basic. It was on Basic Road. Was that your first place?
Very first, yep.
All right.
Yeah.
900 square feet.
And I'm so glad we're not there anymore.
Little tiny place, and then we
Yeah.
graduated to Water Street,
Graduated.
and then now we are on Boulder Highway, and we love the location.
Oh, it's a wonderful location.
Yeah, we love the building. We just want people to come now. When
Well,
we
let's
open up.
let's talk about that a little bit. I mean, especially have been a traveled, experienced entertainers. You know, now you have a location. Now you've got, a place to support you. But on the flip side is, we're in a different world right now. What are your fans doing? What are you guys doing to reach out to your audiences? And to reach out, is the food still rolling?
No, because we don't. All of our food's catered in as right
Okay.
now. We don't prepare any of it there. We don't have a kitchen or anything.
So
like
we're not
that.
going to
People
cater
don't
it
like
in to
my
cater
cooking.
it out.
You're right. So we let the professionals do the food, and then we just take care of the entertainment aspect. So right now we're not doing any food. As far as trying to keep in contact with our fans, we've done a couple different things. Right as soon as we got shut down, then we recorded a new DVD. and released that out. So
Is
that
Skylar
everybody-
on it?
Skylar's on it.
Okay.
Obviously, how could you have a DVD without me on it?
Unfortunately.
And so
Excuse you.
Just kidding.
and so that was a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun recording that show, and then we got it got extended for even longer and stuff, and so we started doing some live streaming, and it's been a lot of fun.
Where
had
are
a
you
lot of
guys
fun.
located on live? Where can
So you
your
can
fans catch you guys at? Because are you on YouTube or where are you guys at?
So we're getting on YouTube. Tess is working on the YouTube stuff, but as of right now, so we stream every Tuesday night on it's twitch.tv/the Firelight Barn.
Okay.
And so if you go there every Tuesday night at 5:30, we stream, and we do a lot of fun things. Just have a blast, but then also play a little bit of music, talk to people a little bit. But it's called 2-Song Showdown. So we always play 2 songs that have kind of a showdown, and we let everybody
Like
vote.
the old Western showdowns,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so it's really, the fans really get into it because they love the sibling rivalry, and
There's
they
a
want to
rivalry?
their
the
favorite.
lead of
How could
most
you tell?
songs won because the very first time we did it, my song won
Of course.
against Graydon's song, and then the next one it was Tess and I, and we tied, and then the next time it was Graydon and I, and we tied. So technically, I'm in the lead.
with 1 point. It's not like you're by a mile. You're by
Skylar,
an inch.
I got you. A win is a win.
Exactly.
Everyone's gunning for the champion. I understand that.
Exactly. Well, Mom keeps pitting me against these two and not pitting those two against each other. I don't know what's going on.
We got dueling banjos coming up between
Oh,
them.
that's true.
Oh.
The banjo always wins.
It's that biased thing though, because the guitar is just as good as the banjo.
Which one's harder to play?
I guess we'll find out
Banjo.
on
The
2-Song
banjo's harder to
Showdown.
play?
Yep.
All
Yes,
right.
yes. I totally give her that. The banjo is much more difficult to play. I have a pick and I just pick the strings.
Strum,
Yeah.
yeah.
She has 3 fingers and she's got to do this funky back and forth with these 3 fingers, and no,
Really?
it doesn't
Really
work.
fast.
But I can play one song on the banjo.
One.
It's 3 notes.
That's all you need.
So with all the different instruments and different talents, like yodeling and stuff, is there like a rival between, like obviously the guitar and the banjo, but like when you were choosing
I think
these
they referred
things,
that as the second place guitar versus the banjo.
yeah, right?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yep, basically.
Like what inspired you to pick yodeling or the banjo or something? It's because it's someone that or something that your other brothers and sisters.
Well, I have a
do,
great yodeling
or-
story. Are you ready for
Yeah,
this?
yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, so the truth be told, I first approached Tess and I said, hey, Tess, yodeling would be so great because we play good old Western classic music. So yodeling would be great. She goes, I'm not doing it, Mom. And so then I went to the
That's
next one,
embarrassing.
Mackenzie, who you thought was the. I went to Mackenzie next, and Mackenzie, yodeling would be so great. And she said, I'm not yodeling. And so I went to
It
Skylar.
sounds like a very democratic process.
Skylar was only 6 years old at the time, so she didn't know embarrassment. I mean, she did everything embarrassing on stage and didn't even think she was embarrassed. She just embarrassed all of us. So at 6 years old, I said, Skylar, do you want to learn how to yodel? And she said, sure. So I took her to a teacher, and the teacher's like, she can't learn it this young. And I'm like, why? Of course she can, And the teacher's like, no, they really need to be like 15 or 16 because they have to know how to go from the diaphragm to the head voice and back again. And I'm like, well, just give her a try because she was fiddling when she was 2
She's a
years
natural.
old. She's my kid, so of course she's
Yeah.
going to be a natural. So the teacher's like, okay, I'll try 20 minutes, and she was yodeling. At
Wow.
6 years old, she was this little, and so we'd put her on stage, and she'd bring down the house. She'd get a standing ovation, and she was 6 years old. She had a little pair of red cowboy boots, little red cowboy hat, little Levi skirt with a little red ruffle. She was
stole the
adorable.
show.
She
She
stole the
did.
show.
I
so
still
that's why
do.
the sibling rivalry came about.
Oh, okay.
So I mean, after all that complaining, she's like, "Yeah, I do steal the show. I probably am king of the hill right now." So,
She doesn't need any.
Nonsense.
yeah, I can feel her head over here starting to butt up with mine, or it could be somewhere in between. So,
Your diaphragm to your head voice? Uh-huh. What's your head voice? I'm trying to keep my head
Like
voice quiet.
Like falsetto.
Oh, okay.
Well, for guys, we have falsetto. We have our chest voice and we have falsetto. Girls
Okay.
have a chest and a head voice.
But it's the same
But
principle.
it's the same theory.
thing.
Yeah. It's just us guys, we falsify. It's a false voice. It's a falsetto. So we false the high notes because we can't hit them. They can really hit them. They just
Oh, okay,
so
got it.
that's kind of the short.
A little educational.
Yeah,
No,
that's
it
a very
is. I
simplified
know
way.
nothing
So
about
so
it.
nobody like grill me in the comments. It's a very simplified way to say it, but that's
That's perfect. And I would not have thought of yodeling to country and western. I could be way wrong, but like I think every time I think of yodeling, I think of the Sound of Music.
well.
serious.
Hold on a second.
That's
Wait,
the only thing that comes to my mind.
don't you know?
Patsy
There's
Cline?
actually
Hank
two different
Williams.
Hank
types
Williams?
of yodeling.
Have you ever heard Hank
There's-
Oh,
Williams?
I've heard of him, but I don't
Listen
hear
to
him.
Okay. Well,
I apologize. I'm being honest. I'm just like, but I loved it.
Here,
First
don't
time I saw
judge.
you guys.
It's a work in progress, as his wife would say. So
No, there's actually two different types of yodeling. There's country yodeling and the stuff you hear from like Switzerland.
Yeah.
and they're pretty distinct. Like
Yeah.
how you were saying, tap clog.
Yeah.
Like so, a lot of people, right? Then they're just like you're tapping, and it's like no. We're clogging. We're not tapping. Tapping is a different thing, and people who do it know the difference. So same thing between the Swiss yodeling and cowboy yodeling. You can hear the differences
a
between
difference.
it. Yeah.
Same thing with
and
a
I-
violin and a fiddle.
yeah, I apologize. I didn't know
Why do
that
you have to
Adam.
apologize? These are legit questions. There's probably people out there like, man, I'm so glad he's asking this.
Personally, I
right.
find Swiss yodeling way more impressive than country yodeling.
And she
It's-
wants to go to the Swiss Alps one day.
Oh, I bet.
It'd
Yeah.
be so cool to go to Switzerland. Oh my gosh. I want to go to Japan too. I want to go to a bunch of places.
Skylar, did you want to? We'll put your Patreon in the links so people can contribute.
And by the way,
flights.
since he brought that up, we'll put all your links in our bio
Oh,
Okay.
for this episode, so they can go down to the bio, and you can find them on Twitch or YouTube or anywhere else, and you'll be able to contact them. So I'll put all your websites and
Adam,
stuff on there.
I mean, I'll just talk about yodeling, and Skylar's over there getting prepped. Saw her like, I think she wants to give us a sample.
She does.
She does.
She does.
Oh,
Give us a
yeah.
sample.
Here we
Might
Scoot
have
the
to
mic
back
back.
up. Yeah,
Yeah.
she's super loud.
Okay,
It's super loud.
yodeling is very loud.
you can push it away.
Okay.
Hey, Skylar, now I'm usually soft-spoken, so I can appreciate that comment.
Yeah, I could definitely tell that.
All right, Skylar, let's hear it.
Hey, hey, I'm not a lady, a lady, a lady, a lady, a lady. Hey, hey, I'm not a lady, a lady, a lady, a lady. Woo!
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Thank you. Yes.
Okay, now let's see you try it.
Okay, can I get the
No way.
music? Can I get the music?
You guys should ask Graydon to yodel next.
I'm a fantastic yodeler, Skylar.
He tries anyway.
Someone came up to Graydon after the show and they said, "You yodel like Hank Williams." And
Wow.
Graydon's like, "Oh, really?" And he's like, "That's not a good thing."
He's like, Hank Williams couldn't yodel either. I was like, oh, okay, well, never mind.
Graydon tries his best.
So yeah, speaking of Hank, this is a question I wanted to ask you guys. So, Adam and I talked about we grew up here in Vegas. Vegas used to be a hoe town, right? I used to work at the Gold Coast, where the pro cowboys used to call home. My parents grew up. They would go out on the weekends. They would go, country dancing, line dancing. Now Vegas is a lot more cosmopolitan.
Right.
And so how do you deal with, I don't want to say the cowboy culture is being squeezed out of Vegas, but that's kind of how I feel. Like, a little bit of the cowboy roots goes back to like a little history of who I am is like, so my dad, my biological dad was actually a steer wrestler and, met my mom at Eldorado, right?
Right.
A buckle bunny, right? And
A buckle
so-
bunny?
yeah, these are cowboy terms,
Okay,
brother.
man, I'm sorry.
And so, and for those that don't know, when NFR was smaller, man, the Gold Coast used to be like, tough heater men. I parked his cars. Some of the bigger rodeo stars used to just hang out at the Gold Coast. And now you see that type of culture being squeezed out, right? There's only, I live up by the horse properties in Henderson's. I grew up in the Northwest where there's still ranches and where the buffalo still roam. But you see that culture getting
There's
squeezed out.
a bunch of ladies on that side of town very offended right now.
So what do you guys see? Like how, what are your audience, how's your audience responding to kind of a little shot back? We talk about Hank Williams, and everyone's thinking, oh no, he still sings for NASCAR. No, that's Hank Williams Jr. Hank Williams was his dad and was the original star. And and my parents grew up, the station literally never left the country station. Like 95.5, when my parents had the dial-up radio, you do not touch that thing.
Right.
Because you touch it a little bit, you
And
get a
it's
little
mess-
bit of crackle in it, and then they'll know that you turned it to a different station. And now country is so crossover between pop and rock and everything else, it's not a big deal. But yeah, Tony, so how are you dealing with that?
So I think that's a really great question, because that is one of the things that we have fought to do, is to preserve that type of music, the history and old country western music, and some bluegrass and a little bit of that old history. And so we find when we play that good old stuff, our audiences come out like you wouldn't believe it, because they grew up with that and they miss it. And so even if they go to something that is classified as country, like new country, like George Strait or some of the newer artists, they don't have what it was back then.
I think they call that the twang.
Yeah. So
The
now,
twang.
and not to be confused with some of that, people have this bad taste in their mouth, some people, about, oh, it's just morbid, my dog died, that kind of stuff, the old twang stuff.
Yeah.
But no, we have very high energy, high upbeat, positive, fun stuff that we're trying to preserve. And so we wanted to make sure that we have a family-friendly atmosphere, so people of all ages, kids can come.
I've read that. Mostly big families, a lot of families come.
But also our primary audience are seniors, because it is the music that they grew up on. It's the music that we weren't allowed to change the channel off of. And so it's great, because they come and they sing along, and, oh, I haven't heard that song in 40 years or whatever, and they may even grab their sweetheart and dance. And
Well, yeah, I was going to ask that question. I mean, we heard about Graydon's, dancing abilities, and he's over here like bouncing around, just hearing the yodel, I could see him really start getting in the groove. And so the audience, you facilitate the audience, or you have an opportunity to get up and.
they can. We don't mind at all if they get up and dance, but
That sounds like Adam.
But
Like,
the
if there's a
main
little
thing-
bit of spotlight, he just hops right up there. I'm sure he's never shy
have to
about
be so
dancing in front of
persuaded.
others.
yeah, but
Okay,
no,
when I come, Tony, obviously, I'm an easy target. You're like, hey, if we'd like to have any audience members, like Eric, come on up. My wife will oblige, but that's because I've done it so many times.
got
so,
you. Okay, we're gonna put him on. He's asking to be put on stage. Did you hear
Oh,
that?
100%.
I think he just invited himself.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But we're not gonna
Did you
let
hear
him
that?
yodel.
Yeah.
Graydon even understood that I invited myself.
No yodeling though.
Tomato, tomato. We'll see. Maybe by then I might have my yodel skills up to par with my chest voice and
yeah.
my head voice and my mic'd up and my.
But what we want Las Vegas to know is that there is an alternative to being on the Strip. People can get a really great show, have great fun, great entertainment, and not have to deal with the craziness of the Strip. And just come to good old little Henderson.
Oh, absolutely.
Hendertucky.
Hendertucky, yeah, exactly. So when is the barn opening back up?
As of right now, it's May 24th. is
Oh,
what
so
we're
it's like
hoping.
tomorrow.
So
It's
what
like
is
right
that,
around the corner.
second phase in this whole
That's what we're hoping,
craziness?
yeah. So, I mean, that's barring that there aren't, heavier restrictions or
Extended.
extended restrictions,
Yeah,
yes.
Right on.
So, because of, as of right now, hopefully things will start to open up again May 15th. And so we'll shoot for the next weekend, and
I hope so,
We
because
just
I'm
wanna
getting
fill the place.
I'm getting bored.
Oh, right.
Like,
Yeah, he's got a big old fishing hat on. He's like,
Go.
I just went fishing in Baja. He's like, all this fishing is boring me out. So,
so let's get some music back on.
yeah. Well, and then I have another quick question. So we talked about finding your fans can find you on Twitch. Adam talked about how he did a horrible job at Pictionary. You guys were on Twitch and had a blast on that. He wasn't good at Pictionary to begin with, so I wouldn't have picked him to win anyways. But
My problem is I'm a slow typer.
oh,
So I'm sitting there in my living room trying to go as quick as I can, you know.
And all the fans are beating you.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, they're murdering me. It's like if most of your fans are seniors, they're
They are. So yeah, that's.
what do they got, the typewriter tied into their computer?
So do your kids have their own channels? Are they doing anything to develop their own? Like we talked about Skylar, and she was showing off her yodel. You know, Tess is obviously killing it on the banjo, and everyone's like just in awe of those abilities. And poor Graydon, he's like, I'm just the good-looking one, right?
That's exactly what it is.
So-
Nailed it.
Do I need to feel offended again? This
Well,
time.
so like, are you guys doing any like spotlights? Like, are your kids doing any spotlights to kind of get more of the word out, get some more of the audience? There's
I barely have time to do all the stuff that I have to do for the together stuff. I wouldn't have the time to do solo stuff too. Like,
last time I checked, so when you're fishing, you're sitting on a boat, it's kind of just coasting out there. So where you say, I don't have time, like we're in quarantine right now, oh great.
yeah, exactly. I choose not to have the time. There you go.
I know our mom keeps us pretty busy.
We are staying very busy. Like he said, we recorded a whole DVD, which takes so much time and
Oh, it
editing
does.
and everything. And then getting the new show ready, Hee Haw.
Oh, yeah.
And we're recreating the stage so it looks like Hee Haw. You know, you got to have the fence and the little door and everything.
Oh man.
So it's
And
it's
who's
a lot
going
of
to be
time.
the jokester?
Well, he mostly, you know, I mean, he
I don't know what
just
they're
takes on that
talking about.
role.
They think I'm the jokester, but I'm just
Ladies love
normal.
a good sense of humor. So I've heard.
Yeah.
So speaking of which, if you're this busy and you're doing a lot of work, and it sounds like you've taken advantage of this quarantine to kind of
Get ready.
revamp and get ready for like a reopening. It seems like you use your time very wisely. So because you're so busy, what about personal life? You date?
Good question.
You're married.
I'm
Just-
married.
You have a good.
She's still dating.
You're good,
Dates
but-
her husband every week, makes up for the year
There's probably
abroad.
there's probably a lot of young ladies and young men out there listening that want to know this.
Yeah.
Skylar's
Skylar's got a
taken.
big smile on her face. She's like, I've got so many to choose from.
Actually, that was true, but 6 months ago, almost to the day, then I have a boyfriend now. So
6 months.
And he
Yeah.
lives in Alaska, so we're safe.
Ooh, I don't know if he's safe. But yeah.
So the band's not going to be one less now here.
no.
You're staying here,
Yes,
right?
I already told him. I was like,
He can
"Hey,
play the
you're
violin.
coming
We'll just
to
bring
me,
him in."
right?"
Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
He
he's
plays the
actually.
violin.
He used to. He started to get back into it, but yeah, he was all through high school in his orchestra, high school
okay.
orchestra.
But he also has a job running lights too, if he wanted to, because my husband runs the sound and the lights right now. So it'd be nice if
He needs to
They could
come
work
and run
together.
the lights, you know? You need a good lighting tech.
A
that
good light
flashes
tech,
the
a good
lights and
gaffer.
stuff.
Or we can put a skirt on him and he can take Mackenzie's place.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't think he'd like that.
Now that's pretty smart. Like getting out there is encourage the kids to date people with skills to bring into the show.
Yeah.
Hey, we really need a producer. Someone go out and get something, right?
That's
A songwriter or something.
There you
right?
go.
That's pretty smart.
We let Graydon off the hook. though.
I know. I'm still waiting.
Yeah, we're still waiting.
I'll get to it one of these days. Yeah.
He
So
says
that
that
means
he's had
he's
too
not
many
dating
women
right now.
in his life.
He's very picky. Let's put it that
Well,
way.
that's
I'm not really
Very-
picky. They think I'm
he's
really
very
picky,
picky.
but I
very
just know
picky.
how picky they are, and so I just started dating a girl, and I'm like, my sisters are gonna have a problem with you, so sorry.
He's
See?
using us as
I'm just
an
smart.
excuse.
that's a good out right there. I really don't like you, but I don't want to tell you I like you, but my sisters really don't like you. Right?
Yeah. One of these days I'll get around to it. I'm too busy.
He's picky. That's the bottom line.
That's all
And
right.
he'll be like, she has to be smart. She has to play tennis as good as I do. And
Actually, she's gonna be a better tennis player than me.
No, it's not very hard. But so let's get to your pickleball game.
Oh, here we go.
Do you play a little pickle?
No, pickleball is the discount tennis. Pickleball is like.
Graydon, the door is behind you.
Yeah.
See yourself
You must
out.
be a pickleball player, huh?
I've played pickleball. Pickleball's fun.
Once. You made me play it once.
No, actually, I've played quite a bit of pickleball because she really likes pickleball.
Who doesn't?
And so
It's America's game.
I've played it, and I like pickleball for the for what it's good at. And what pickleball is good at is that somebody that doesn't have the
watch out.
skills to play tennis can pick it up really easy. That's like
Their audience plays pickleball.
Yes.
that's right. That's right. They do. But no,
It's just because Graydon's not good at ping pong. He's
No,
barely
I love
good at
ping pong.
tennis.
He actually
Ping
kicks
pong.
our butt in ping pong.
Ping pong is
He's really
great and
good.
tennis
He's
is
a
great.
champion.
But you see,
Pickleball is a combination of both.
pickleball is right there where you can't do all the cool shots in ping pong and you can't hit it hard in tennis. You got to play the soft game that you're just like ding 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 ding.
Graydon, you're more than welcome to come get wailed on tonight.
Challenge.
I also have another club. It's called the Derby Street Pickleball Club, found on Facebook at Derby Street Pickleball Club. And
That link will not be in the bio.
yeah, we had Dan Bastone come out, who's a former professional tennis player who now plays plenty of pickleball, and he would help correct you as well as myself.
He's that professional tennis player that lost his leg in a car wreck, and now he plays pickleball.
Oh wow.
Did he lose
I mean,
his
if
leg?
you don't feel like you can compete in
Sorry,
pickleball,
jeez.
I understand. I've dealt with that my whole life. Hey, Eric, I can't compete. Let's not play anymore. I've heard the story over and over and over again.
No, really, truthfully, I just have found that when I play pickleball, then it messes with my tennis game, and when I play tennis, then it messes with my pickleball game because the feel of the rackets are just too different. So that's
Yeah.
really the bottom line.
I'm just trying to help you out.
That
The
makes
tennis channel,
There's a pickleball channel?
of course.
Is there
Well,
really?
there's
Yeah.
not. There's
Pickleball
it's
is on
growing.
the rise.
It's growing. Yeah.
On-
Yeah.
on
The
the-
fastest growing sport right now.
Yeah. it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
We're-
On
so-
the Ocho.
Yeah.
ESPN Ocho.
It was actually the World Championships were on CBS last year. Thanks for pointing that out. Yeah, City of Henderson is actively trying to get some. There's two franchises for pickleball and eateries, and both Las Vegas and Henderson are very active in trying to get those franchises here.
It's all the baby boomers. All the baby boomers are retiring right now. So what are they doing?
Pickleball.
Pickleballing.
They need it.
Yeah.
Actually, if you watch the World Championships, it would be actually Skylar's demographic
Yeah,
that are
actually.
playing. So
I prefer staying in my room and reading.
No, she likes to ride her horse too.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I like riding, but I like staying in my room and reading.
But you're right.
But
There
you're
are
right.
that age.
The-
All ages. That's why
Yeah.
pickleball is so versatile.
Some of the
All ages.
best players are a pair of twins, a boy and a girl, in mixed doubles in
Yeah.
pickleball. They're phenomenal players.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm
They're
just
crazy.
giving you a hard time, Eric. I just had fun with that.
Hey, I barely play pickleball, but when I do, I have fun.
No.
So
It-
I mean,
it
only
looks like
I
a
only
good
play like
time.
4 times a week. You know,
Only 4 times.
and so
We've been doing this show for a while. I've never gotten an invite.
whoa, what a coincidence, right? Kind of like Skylar's never asked me to yodel before. So, Tess, do you have the banjo with you? Do you keep it with you at all times? Where's this banjo at?
We should have brought
We should
some
have brought some instruments.
I didn't
Okay,
even
well,
think
let's
about
just
it.
stop the podcast. We'll come back when Tess brings the banjo. Not that I feel completely disappointed.
I know, me too.
Like, you build us up. Like, I in my head, I can hear the hee-haw going. I can see the doors opening. I can hear the banjo going. So,
So you'll just have to settle for a song.
yeah, settle for a song.
All right.
or bring us
Alright.
back, and
Here
I'll
we
bring
go.
my banjo.
Oh, we would love to have you guys back. This is
Mama, I think Mama's gonna sing a song because I don't have a song off the top of my head.
You guys could do Wagon Wheel. That's really
Oh, I love it. I live off a wagon wheel.
Wagon Wheel. That's a
Like-
I
that's a
say
request.
cornfields.
What note are we starting on?
Do that thing.
Well, let's see. What we do that in the key of G. So E F D A B G G G. That would be G. That would be your G. How's the
Rock
song
me,
go?
mama, like a wagon wheel.
Yes, that's the one we want.
There we go.
Any way you feel. Hey, mama, rock me. Rock me, mama, like the wind and the rain. Rock me, mama, like a southbound train. Hey, mama, rock me.
I can't find my note. Keep singing.
There you go.
Oh,
We're still going?
I couldn't get my third part yet.
Heading down south to the land of the pines, thumbing my way into North Carolina, staring down the road and praying that I see headlights. I made it down the coast in 17 hours, picking me a bouquet of dogwood flowers, and I'm a-hoping for Raleigh I can see my baby tonight. So rock me, mama, like a wagon wheel. Rock me, mama, any way you feel. Hey, mama, rock me. Rock me, mama, like the wind and the rain. Rock me, mama, like a southbound train. Hey, mama, rock me.
There.
Wonderful. That
That
was
was
awesome.
kind of low, but that's pretty good.
Great.
I got close.
Great. I could see my part. You guys are missing a baritone, brother.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there
I
you
know.
go.
I heard it, and you watched this podcast. And you're like,
He's
Eric
trying to get on stage
Eric
again.
chimed in
There we
again.
go.
I'm like, Graydon's so high. I could slip in a little baritone right there.
I heard you, Eric. You wanted to get in there.
Yeah.
You know me. I'm not really I'm not like always wanting the spotlight.
Oh,
you know,
jeez.
but
It just rotates
occasionally-
towards him.
Yeah.
If you ever go to his house, there's these spotlights all wherever he's walking.
Tracking
there's a
him.
spotlight. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. No, he loves it. So with you guys being on the road, I want to hear some road stories.
Oh dear.
We have a lot of crashing stories.
Oh,
Well,
Okay, not a lot.
some.
Well, the one thing I'm impressed is you guys always seem like you get along so well, and
in front of the microphone.
it's genuine. I believe that it's even.
It is.
We're just fantastic actors.
That's the only reason.
that it?
That's what it is.
That's the only reason you could stay together for 19 years as a family band. Look
Oh,
at how many
absolutely.
bands stay together. Family bands, and even bands. Period. They
Especially
they don't
being
stay.
on the road, you're in tight areas. I'm sure you're
Sharing
in tight
hotel rooms.
hotels and sleeping in the same bed.
Girls
and
get the
on
bathrooms
floor.
first.
It's really nice because Grain's always like, I'm a Boy Scout, I'm an Eagle Scout, I can sleep on the ground. So he always takes the air mattress or whatever. So it's
ground
nice.
sucks.
We get the beds.
Yeah, right.
So I can think of a particular story about one time we were performing, and there was about 200 or 300 people in the audience, and I had just set them up for Skylar to come up on stage, and so I said, my little girl is going to come up and she's going to play her fiddle, and she was just little then, and they put her up on stage. She struts across the front of the stage. She pulls her microphone down. She arranges it just perfectly, and the audience is now sitting on the edge of their seats. They're all like, we can't wait to hear this little girl play her fiddle. And so they're just anxious, and she's like taking her sweet little time, and we're dying because we don't like dead time on stage, and we're dying, and she's just taking her sweet. She gets her fiddle all set up on her shoulder, and she gets her bow just ready to play, and then she drops her fiddle. And I was like horrified because it was a concrete stage, and that fiddle cost a lot of money.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm thinking it's going to be in 100 million pieces. And then we were more mortified by what she did next. She had a wedgie, and it wasn't just a little wedgie, it was a double-handed wedgie. So she had two hands, and she's picking the wedge her candy
Oh, wow.
in front of everyone, and they're all looking right at her, right? It's not like we could just hurry and
Oh
hide her
man,
or
the
step in front of
build-up
her.
is great.
They loved it. They were rolling on the
execution
ground.
They
were phenomenal.
laughed. They
That's
laughed
why
so
she has to
hard.
leave the room when we tell, because she's super embarrassed about it.
So yeah, but there's embarrassing little stories that we could tell
Shall I
about.
tell the story
any one
about
of
Tess and her bug aversion? Tess is terrified of bugs, and so even if she's singing a solo or doing a solo on the banjo or anything, if a bug flies towards her, she just runs off the stage.
I do.
Well, there's some places out there. I'm sure you guys have performed outside a lot.
Yeah.
So down south, there's some pretty good-sized bugs down
Yeah,
there.
it's disgusting.
Yeah, down in Florida and stuff, there's some bad bugs down there.
Yep,
Yep.
and I just run
New
off every
Orleans.
time.
Tess just
Later.
leaves the stage.
We'll be like, there goes the banjo player.
The banjo player has exited the building.
Well, what about school? So,
So we
you know,
homeschooled. We
And
took
so-
everything on the road, and so while we're driving, they're all doing homework in the back seat, and I'm cracking the whip, and I'm driving using the old-fashioned maps, right, until GPSs came along, and I'm navigating, driving, keeping them busy with their homework, and keeping them from killing each other in the back seat. You can all relate,
Yeah,
parents, right?
yeah, absolutely. We still,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, that's and so, well, Tony, have you thought about maybe being on your channel and talking about some of those experiences? Because now, like, every parent is like, homeschooling is only for like the giants in life, right? They're like homeschool. Adam loves it. Like he brags about it.
He already said he wants his kids to go back to school. He wants his house to be more normal again.
Yeah, he
right?
registered him for summer school. He went to register him for summer school. He's like, well, hey, you guys have been in summer already? And then he got the message back. Yes, summer school will be online at your house. And he's canceled the registration.
I saw the best sign on the side of the car, and this is exactly how I feel. It says, "Teachers, you lied to me. My kids are not a pleasure to be in class." And I think about all the times teachers have told me that, but it's just it happens so fast. Like if you plan on homeschooling
Right.
and you prepare yourself, and it's in your mind, and you prepare the work. Totally understandable
Right.
for parents who choose to do that, and they know what they're getting into.
Right.
They know the responsibility. But it was like, oh, no more school tomorrow, and by the way, log in, and we're going to just load you up with stuff. And my wife and I are not teaching. We were not prepared to do it, and then we're trying to like scramble to get it all together. So it was overwhelming.
Yeah.
And then Graydon and I actually both went to college, but a lot of it was when we were traveling also. And then you had to like take the classes you had to be into school
Yeah.
when we were home. So we both did get degrees
Oh, phenomenal.
on the side, yeah.
And
On the
so-
road. It was a
yeah.
lot of work.
Yeah. So a lot of classes, again, when you get to college, are just all online. So
Yeah.
once they graduated from high school, got their diploma, then it was great because then I could like, okay, now you can just go to online college, and it was really great.
And so, Tess, are you and your husband, do you guys have a family? Are you thinking about starting a family? Look, where are you guys at with that? Not that it's any of our business, but my next
Well, you
question.
just made it our business.
Yeah, but my follow-up question will be like, hey, when you have kids, you know, will
role?
will you follow your mom's example? Will you follow the homeschool? Because, you know, the big pro that everyone sees, the biggest pro is the whole reason you guys were able to travel is you're in
We had
time.
that freedom.
You have that freedom of time. And in time, I think as we get older, is something you realize that is something, A, easily spent, B, hard to save, right? And it's something you can never take back and you can never move forward with. And so now, you know, you're married and hopefully you guys have some discussions about that. What have you guys thought about?
So no kids yet, but yeah, we do really want a family. And I think with whatever they want to do, I'll be supportive. But if they are musical, I think it would be really cute to have them start performing on stage with us. And if they like that and they're good at it, then yeah, just keep the
If they're good at it, so you're going to
legend
kick them
alive.
out if they're not good?
You little stinker, no. Do something else.
Sorry, you don't have the voice for this.
No.
Well, and so you guys were traveling all the time. How did you meet your husband?
At church, actually. And actually, yeah, I have to give credit to Graydon because he...
Sounds like
what about
Graydon.
me?
Sounds like Graydon's owed for a lot.
So
I am.
I have a lot of
I
people
am.
to
Slept
thank for
on the
this. You ready?
floor. Found a husband.
So Graydon, my husband taught his church class.
Uh-huh.
And then my mom's like, you get after that little boy. And I'm like, okay. So,
Really?
I saw him at church, and I saw him first, and I said, Tess, he'd be a good boy. So just slip him your phone number. That's what I said to her. And quiet, shy little Tess, you know, she's like, Mom, I'm not doing that. And I'm like, I'll write your number down, and and then, you know. And so that's how I tried to match make. And then he invited him to our house, and we had a little
S'mores.
fire, and we cooked s'mores and everything. So now Tess is always giving him credit for it.
both of
I'm
them.
totally getting credit for it. Like, she just, you know, that's just talk.
was the
She
one
was
that
talking a
got
big
idea.
game.
You had a good idea, but no execution.
Exactly. She's talking
Yeah.
a big game. She didn't execute. That's my credit. It's totally my credit.
Yeah, to be
Wow.
fair to Graydon, Mom said the same things to me too. So Well, Skylar, just, go up and hand him your phone number. It's like, that's not how things work, Mom.
Oh, yeah. Tony, we've had an in-depth discussion about this so Adam's oldest is 18, graduating this
19,
year.
yeah.
Oh,
Right,
she's
right.
19. Oh, so, and you don't give out phone numbers anymore. That's our generation.
They were completely grossed out. I was eavesdropping on them, and they were talking about this guy, which was in their age group in school. I mean, it wasn't like a grown man approaching
Right.
a teen. It was their
A peer.
Yeah, a peer came up and approached her and told her that she was pretty and wanted to take her out and stuff, and they were completely floored by it. Completely.
Right.
They're like, no, don't come up and talk to me. Dude, just ask me for my snap and be done with it. And I'm like, what in the heck? And they would rather be approached on social media on one of the platforms and hit them up that way than an actual approach. Do you realize how hard it is for us guys to come up with enough courage face to face to say something right off the cuff, and that guy's a creep? and yeah, it was a
No,
whole...
I agree with that. I prefer if someone went up to you and
Started a conversation.
Started a conversation.
engaged you in conversation.
I don't really like social media. I have a Snapchat, and I do talk to my friends because they have Snapchat. But I don't do anything on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I don't like social media much. It's just I don't
She's
know.
a book reader,
Well, there's
though.
She totally is. You called it.
Yeah.
She'd rather go into some fantasy world.
Why deal with real people when you could have fictional people that are much more interesting?
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Nobody likes you anymore. See, that's why I'm the star.
Shh, Skylar train coming through. Get off the track.
Wow.
And Skylar has actually written her first book. She published a book when she was 17.
Wow, that's impressive. That's awesome.
Thank you.
So-
Yeah.
Has anyone read
in
it?
between the music.
Everyone in my family has read it.
And a
Okay.
lot of our fans have bought it.
Her book is actually on in Barnes & Noble
Barnes & Noble and Amazon.
and Amazon.
And what's it
All right.
about?
So it's about
Do you want us to guess?
It's
Obviously,
fantasy.
a family band.
it's
Oh,
fantasy,
no.
actually.
Oh,
My
okay.
favorite genre is fantasy, sci-fi, and mystery, but it focuses more on fantasy. Graydon keeps saying, he's like, it's sci-fi because it has, modern day technology.
It technically
and
should be in the sci-fi category.
No,
She keeps
But I
categorizing
think
it as
sci-fi
sci-fi.
is Star Wars.
Sci-fi
and it's not
is
Star Wars.
Sci-fi is Star Trek.
Mom, you
Star
don't
Wars.
know. Just
No, Star Wars is actually
You guys
more
are going to have to read it, and then you
Star
tell
Wars.
us
Yeah.
what it is.
Absolutely.
But anyways, it's a fantasy, and it's about people who like lycanthropes, which most people think lycanthropes are just werewolves. It's actually a person who can change into one specific animal. So they're lycanthropes, but instead of being a lycanthrope, their species is called livens. And
For those at home, we're not in college right now. No, you did not. We are not in a nonfiction college course right now. We are not going into descriptions of characters and mythical characters. We're still on the podcast. Your earbuds are still in. You didn't switch the channel.
Y'all asked, okay? Y'all asked. Anyways, it's about the main characters are Roxlyn and Arizu, and it mainly focuses around them and their cousins. So their relationship, and how Arizu is half human, half Liven, and so she's much discriminated against in the Liven community. And
Like a ginger.
And so she has to struggle with that, but then also something comes up called the corrupted, and they have to figure out how to destroy the corrupted before it consumes their world.
So where does the technology come in?
Exactly.
No.
Exactly.
you have to read the book.
Yeah.
It's
I
totally
would love
based
to.
in technology.
It's
Yeah.
not. It's
Totally
really
is.
not. No.
It's not in the fantasy category. She's totally crossed
It's
her.
a good book, bottom line.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're excited.
Yeah, it is called Blood Ties by Skylar Jackson.
And I did the graphics for it.
Yeah, tested the
Wow,
cover
you
art.
just throw that in there too.
Like, I told her what I
It
wanted.
sounds like someone doesn't like to be left out.
No, Tess, I told her what I wanted, and she did a fantastic job with it. I was so happy with it because the publishing company I went through, they did their own little cover art. Like, you can have this one if you want. And I compared the two, and I was like, I'll go with my sister's. Thank you. So.
Was it hard to publish?
It wasn't very hard.
You just
It
had
is
to
very
find
time consuming.
It's
though.
time
bet.
consuming,
It is.
yeah. The process is fairly easy, but yeah, even just the proofreading, like I would proofread over and over again while I was still writing the book, but once it was finished and proofreading it again, that is probably the hardest, most time consuming thing. And then publishing, yeah, so it's a whole huge process.
But as you heard, so Tess is our designer. So like she designed these shirts
Nice.
that we have. We have several different shirts. So Tess does all of our designing
And
for
graphics.
the graphics and everything like that.
Nice.
Thanks, bro.
She does a good job too.
So yeah, we'll put the links. I'm assuming, Graydon, you guys have an online store where your fans
Yep.
can buy merch.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
Yeah, we'll put all that on there.
Yep.
And definitely. So, what's the future of Firelight Barn? Where would you like to see that in, say, 10 years?
Well, we want to see it growing, and we want to see it a place where locals can celebrate special occasions, birthdays, anniversaries, graduations. You know, we want it to be a happening place where people of all ages can come and just, you know,
To have a good time.
Yeah, expand. So right now, you know, we're open a couple times a week. We want to be able to expand that to be able to every night if we have it, or open for lunches daily so people can come in and enjoy lunch, but still the good old Western atmosphere. And so we're planning on being here for a long time.
Sounds
Wonderful,
great.
wonderful. We appreciate you guys coming on the show.
Thanks for
And
having
we'll
us.
definitely put all the links out. And when this opens up, when this whole pandemic thing stops, when you're down on Border Highway, you see that big red building right next to Burger King, Firelight Barn. Go check them out. And always, I encouraged the listeners last time to support your small businesses. They're the ones that are hurting in this whole quarantine. So when things start opening up, find your local restaurants, find the Firelight Barn. I mean, go check them out and support them, because they're the ones that it's not the big corporations that are hurting in all of this. It's the small businesses. So let's support local and support small business.
Support the dance-off between Graydon and I. I can't clog, but man, I can put on a show.
We will definitely.
We obviously
put-
know why Graydon doesn't show to the pickleball courts.
I just am not that talented. I just not.
Graydon's really fast.
I hurt his feelings.
If you want your music show to turn into a comedy show, when we show up, we'll post it. We'll get a few people there.
There you go.
Not a lot.
Awesome.
thanks, you
for
guys.
having us.
Thank you.
Thank
It's
you.
been a blast. Thanks.
Yes.
And thanks for everyone for supporting the podcast. Always on iTunes, hit that subscribe button, and please leave a comment, man. Say something about the show, and it helps us out. So thanks for listening.
All right, I'll see you guys soon.